All right, what we're working on next, as you can see, we have our missing wood paneling right here. And the wood paneling is actually in excellent condition. It just came disconnected. So we're going to remove all of this, glue back in the wood paneling, and we're also going to put in the original radio. So I've already removed the 2 screws here and the ashtray, and this piece will actually slide out. Then we have to disconnect our cigarette lighter. So we'll go ahead and put that down here, and there's where we disconnect our cigarette lighter. And this is our change holder right here. That actually can come out, but the radio, just throw that away. Take off our cover. And then I need to stick back some little feeler gauges back here, and that will disconnect this radio, and I can slide it out and get the original radio back in. All right, here's the ashtray out of the parts car. Here's the one out of the car we're working on, and what I can see is that the aluminum backing plate simply, the screws actually pulled through the wood that goes attaches to the back here. So this is going to be a really easy fix. I'm actually going to remove these screws. I need a smaller screwdriver. We can easily fix with the correct epoxy, because these were just glued together at the factory. So let's get these screws out of here. This one actually looks like there's some epoxy stuck in here from the factory. Clean that out a little bit. All right, there we go. So we'll set our, and that's just the handle that screwed the plate to the handle. So we'll put our handle back there. There we go. We can see some of the original glue from the factory right there. Get that old glue out of here. They didn't use much, and that's why it came apart. Yeah, there we go. You can see where there's the glue from the factory right there, and we just need to slide this back up in there. Chrome piece here. You can see the lip of it tucks up into there. And then this actually covers where that chrome piece meets. So very simple. Let's go ahead and clean this piece up with some acetone. Very nice. That wood is in excellent condition. Well, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to screw our piece back on here now that I've cleaned them up, and then reattach that with epoxy. All right. The screw in the middle has to go on there first, but the screws on the end I can attach after I re-epoxy the piece. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to use the screws to hold it in place once it's epoxied. So I'm going to mix up some epoxy. And guys, this stuff, the JB Clear Weld Quick Setting Epoxy gives you like 5 minutes working time. This is fantastic for stuff like this. Sometimes I use gel-based Gorilla Glue, but for a job like this, we want a little bit of working time. So we're going to mix up some epoxy. And it doesn't take much at all. Now, we're going to reattach our piece here. and then put our screws through. All right. Perfect. Now that we got our piece reattached, we want to put a little pressure on it. Beautiful. All right, we're going to let that dry, and that will be as good as new, and we'll get it back in the car. All right, there we go, guys. We have a reattached glove box, ashtray wood trim. So let's go put this back in the car. All right, in order to put our radio back in there, we have to get this aftermarket radio out. And the tool that works really good to get the clips undone is a feeler gauge. And let's see, gotta find where it is. There we go. Got that side. Got it. All right. So we're going to inspect our original wiring. And oh good, I see the antenna wire is still there. Oh good, they just spliced good. They left everything intact and just spliced the original wiring. So we're going to go ahead, get this radio out of here. There we go. All right, we got our original Becker radio to put back in here, and we're going to go ahead and disconnect this wiring harness, undo all these splices, and then put the correct connectors back on to go into the back of our Becker radio. All right, I'll put our original Becker down here on the floor and start taking a look at this harness. Okay, that's clearly the aftermarket harness, so we don't care about this guy. The original Mercedes stuff, might as well just take that glove off, huh? The original Mercedes wiring is right behind it. There we go. Here is our ground. And there is our speaker wire right there. All right. There we go. And the last one. There's our ground. Boom. that is all the original Mercedes wiring, still intact and in good condition. There's the antenna, signal, antenna control. There's our ground. There's our speakers. There's our hot. And this is the original, the frame for that aftermarket radio is still in here. So we want to get this frame out of here. And to do that, we're going to have to bend that up like that. We're going to have to bend it out of here. There we go. There we go. And there's the aftermarket frame. There's our original mounting clips for the Becker. Perfect. We're back to factory original setup now. So what we have to do now is we have, so I went over to my parts bin and I got all the right connections, right? So here's the antenna, here's the ground, and here are the two speaker wires. So what we want to do is, I've already stripped the end of these, and we want to splice them onto the end of those. So we're going to solder them later. So for now, let's find where's our antenna? Okay, so here's the antenna, that's power. So I'll go ahead and strip that piece off. All right. There we go. And just temporarily, we're going to twist these together. And once we hook everything up and confirm it all works, then we're going to correctly solder them all. So here's our ground. And our ground wire goes right here. Go ahead and strip some of this one off. All right. Like I said, this is just temporary. First we get the radio working, then we solder all the points in, all the connections in. And here are our speaker wires. So we get everything stripped and temporarily connected. All right. There's our black green. And here's our red. Okay, so I think this is, of course, this is power, and then this is when the key is in accessory position. So I'll go back and look at my notes. But we got all the basics wired up, and I need to go look for the right connector to put onto these. All right, guys, I'm going to stop the radio install video right here because I had to call one of my parts suppliers and get the original power plug for the Becker radio. When that aftermarket radio was installed, it was clipped out, and who knows where it went. So one of my parts guys has some of the original power plugs, so I'm waiting for that to ship in. I'll get that, I'll solder that in, and then we'll do another video showing me installing the radio. And in the meantime, the radio has to go back to Becker to be restored. So that's the end of this part 3 here. The next video is part 4. That's me doing the central locking system and lubricating the window tracks. And then by the time I'm done with that, part 5 is going to be the Becker radio coming back, and I'll have the plug, and we'll go ahead and put that in the car. So hang tight. Y'all see the radio installed a couple of videos later.